Illuvium founder interview with the one and only Kieran Warwick. How's it going today, man? Illuvium has been doing some epic stuff this past few months, and I think the community is really feeling it. And the IPL has been fun to watch and participate in.
Yeah, good to be back on Scoriox. It's always a pleasure to speak to you and be on the channel. Last night actually, I think Taryn made a mistake and put out a tweet saying that the IPL Sin Go starts in 2 hours or something like that, or 1 hour. He probably has changed it and apologized and whatever. But I was one of those suckers that was online at like 11:30, and I was like, wait a second, that's at a reason. Like I can wait that long. Like that's actually at a reasonable time, and because as you know, in Australia we get absolutely shafted.
Yep.
And then I like played a game at the time and I was like, this is weird. No one's really like talking and stuff. Like usually the IPL is pretty serious. And 2 hours too early. So I didn't get to compete in the 1000, but I haven't had much luck anyway.
I played this morning in the second qualifier and I got absolutely stomped. So not a good day for me. All right.
It's crazy, man. Like we've been playing this game for 4 or 5 years and the level is so high right now. It makes it pretty daunting.
The thing is, I reckon I could get up there, but I need to be playing like 3 or 4 matches every single night to make sure that I'm like with it and I'm like fully across it all. So let's get into the first thing today. The first thing is the crypto gaming industry, because it's been a bit tough for a lot of people out there. Illuvium community and adjacent communities included, many major crypto gaming studios such as the Futureverse and even Lizard Labs are either slowing down or stopping operations entirely. What's your forecast for the industry at the moment?
Well, look, I mean, people did not like this, but when we first launched, I was very critical of games in this space. And probably the only reason that I'm not more, that I don't talk more about this openly anyway, is because, we didn't do a very good job ourselves, right? And that's with, I knew, you would have a conversation with the founder and they'll be like, yeah, this is what we're doing and it's going to be amazing. And you start digging in a little bit and you're like, you have no fucking idea what you're talking about, right? Like you just raised $30 million or $20 million. You literally have no idea what you're talking about. And, you have those conversations, and fine if the founder doesn't. Probably a lot of people out there think that I'm a maniac that doesn't know what they're doing, but you hire a team of people that are really, really good, proven at building games, and still it's super unlikely to build that hit, right? It takes a long time to get one of those titles that really smacks, but at least you're set up for success. Like that's what we did really well. We made sure we had a lot of funding. We made sure we hired the right people. We had good advisors. We had really good partnerships, and we've set ourselves up and built an IP that as soon as we get a game that really, really goes hard in terms of what Arena's doing at the moment, and certainly once the MMO comes out, you built the moat around it. We're generating revenue. We know what we're doing, and so it kind of it's one of those moments where it's like I knew this was going to happen. I was very open about it. There's rarely would I see a team do research on a team and go like, they have a good shot at this. And you can say I'm a pessimist or an asshole or whatever, but I just, that was the reality. That was what I was seeing. And now that's sort of transpired. And so many of these games that raise big money are just going under and just leaving. And it kind of, on one hand, it's good for us because you're cutting all the bullshit away. And of course, the people that still believe in gaming are going to gravitate back towards us. And we're seeing a little bit of that. But like, that's not my focus. My focus is on the people that are getting absolutely torched, lit up. And, there's just a tweet that comes out and says sorry guys, we did our best. There's no transparency coming of like, hey, this is where our token's going, or this is where our runway is, or our game is simply unable to be completed or whatever. You get nothing of that. You just get wrecked. And it's so frustrating for me to look at these projects that have done that when it's like, dude, like, try. It's like they don't try, and obviously I don't know all the details. And like, I know you were big on Pirate Nation. That was one that an ecosystem that you're into. I didn't do much research on them or whatever, but when my previous startups, you would be on the corner, literally. I'm not even going to say it, but you're doing your deeds on the corner to make enough money to go back and shill out your $50 to your staff members that you've been promising the dream to for 3-4 years. You would do anything to ensure that your startup doesn't go under. That is the mentality that I look for when I'm trying to, find a team that I think is going to be successful in any industry. And that's been the biggest thing that is frustrating me. It's like, how do you just, oh, sorry guys, better luck next time. It blows my mind. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I think Pirate Nation was an interesting one because I was particularly excited in the infrastructure. That's where I thought their strengths lied, and they've still got all that going. They only shut out the Pirate Nation game, not the proof of play infrastructure. But the irony of it all was they didn't really disclose that the infra was costing them $500K a month to run. And it's like, well, then it's not going to work, is it? I would have liked to know that beforehand. But they know that if they said that, people would have been like, oh, well, this is not going to work. It's going to fail.
So don't do it. So don't do it. Like it's like the people that are spending $1 million a month or $2 million a month, right? They know they went and raised $40 million. You've got 20 months. They know that. And they're like, I'm just going to ram it all the way until the end. And it's like, okay, well, did you do any cost cutting whatsoever? Oh, no, we couldn't. We had to build this thing. And it's like, did you change the game? Did you think about something else? Did you think about a different revenue stream? Like all of these different things that you can do to pivot, to raise more money. If you've got a hardcore community, speak to them. There's ways to get funding through community initiatives. Like there's so many things to do before you just go, oh, sorry, guys. And I think people are going to be angry no matter what, right? You put a bunch of money. The amount of games that I put money into, like, I'm not even joking. People are like, oh, you get it the best. You get access to all these deals. None of them launched, right? Like literally 8 out of 10 have just ghosted us. People that are like, you can Google them. They've got LinkedIn's. They're real people. Like they're game designers, and just poof, they're gone. So I get it. I get the anger, but I think people would be a little bit more accepting of the situation if they were like, okay, these dudes have exhausted all options. They're paying themselves in rice rations. Like I just don't see any of that. And maybe it's because I'm just not as into them. But yeah, for me, it's like you want someone who's willing to die on that hill. And there's quite a few founders out there that are like that. And you'll see they'll be the ones that last through this bull market, the next bear market. They're not going anywhere. They'll work something out, right? Like there's sure, it doesn't work out every single time, but you want someone in the driver's seat who's like, I literally will do absolutely anything and everything to ensure that I don't fuck my investors, the people that believed in me. I got to give them a return.
Yeah, so, like as from where I'm standing, you would rather go homeless first before Illuvium crash and burn. Like in a metaphorical sense, you know what I mean? Like you would put it on the line if you had to, and Aaron already has. He put all those tokens up for the IPL and all the rest of it. So yeah, I'm glad to see that you guys are committed to seeing this through and doing everything possible, even the cost cutting and things like that, which we'll get to in a minute. But the next thing I wanted to talk about was revenue in Illuvium, because this is a big thing that's going to become major over the next 12 months at least, right? Mm-hmm. And so you mentioned Fight for ETH in a recent tweet, and it got me very excited because I think this is the future of crypto gaming as a whole, not just Illuvium. Crypto gaming as a whole. In what way do you see it returning to Illuvium? Okay.
So it was hilarious, your tweet that you made going straight in. I love your brain, right? I think it's fantastic how deep and how much you analyze things and come up with these different theories. It's almost like a conspiracy theorist, but like a positive one, you know. So that was really good to see. It wasn't exactly what I was referring to.
Sure.
But I will say it did trigger us to go, you know what? Let's go back and look at that, right? Which, as you know, when we first wanted to start, when we first started Illuvium, part of it was, hey, it's on chain. You can have these proven wagers and or pots, if you will, like poker or whatever, and you have all these people that come in and play. And then, you know, one person takes the lion's share and a couple of other people win and we get a fee, right? Like that's a really good revenue stream. And we went so deep in like trying to get regulated and all of that crap that ended up just not working and not being useful whatsoever. And they were, that was a big blocker, right? Wagering was a huge blocker there. Now we don't have that, right? And we're still fully decentralized. We've proven that, like, by so much more than so many other protocols out there that I've seen like that I was actually like, fuck, let's do it, right? Like let's actually do this. So it's down the list of features, but it's definitely something that we put back onto the board. And yeah, I'm not going to say there's still a bit of stuff that we need to work out. We don't want to do it through a third party. We've now, everything that we do, we want to be in client, right? Like even things like tournaments and whatever. If it's in the client, it's so much better. Buying cosmetics, so much better in the client. Like marketplace, we want to bring into the client. Everything we want in game eventually. So that's what it will be part of. But actually what I was referring to is I had a conversation with Roger, and the initial law was you're fighting for ETH, right? Like and I don't know if people know this, maybe it's a massive leak or whatever, but Ethereum is what powers Illuvium, right? It's the energy that the Illuvials need, that the Rangers need. It powers their equipment, their ship, all of these things. So we're trying to get as much Ethereum as possible. And that conversation that I had with Roger, where he was building out a few quests and whatever, and because essentially Roger's taken over, he's taken Aaron's story, and now we're building it into a adventure that gets uncovered throughout the entire MMO. Okay. And he was saying to me, he showed me a picture of the sign, the original Fight for ETH sign. And I was like, fuck me, we need to, you know, ETH is now cool again. We need to get that out. That part of our law is that everyone is literally fighting for ETH. So that's what it referred to. But I'm glad you put it out there, because now a new feature is on the roadmap.
Well, that's like, because the gauntlet mode is so perfect for it, because you have the 8 players, so it is like a poker lobby, right? But the second part is first, risk to earn is really popular right now. Cambria is one of the only successful crypto games that's making revenue, all the rest of it. There's a few other games that are doing really well with it. They all have risk to earn mechanics. Okay, poker is obviously really popular, really successful. Taking that into crypto gaming makes perfect sense. So it's really effective in that way. But the third thing it does is it solves a lot of your ownership problem. If you have a way that people can actively just earn money every single game they play, it gives them the ultimate reason to buy alluvials and things like that. That's what Parallel does so well with their winning mechanic and stuff like that. Yeah. Basically, they have a card sale, all the money from those sales go into a pool, and the people win it from playing ranked matches, right? So you tie in ownership, and it fixes like 3 of Illuvium's biggest problems in one giant hit. Obviously, it takes a while to develop it out, do all the regulatory stuff. That's painful, very painful. So I totally get it, but that's how I've always seen it.
Well, it's actually interesting because I don't know if you know, but we had a Leviathan series that Tempest ran. And so it was 4 weeks or 3 weeks of 1,000. And then the big end prize was 10K. And I got in there in the finals, and I was talking to Storming, who was hosting it, and I was like, "Hey, this seems like a situation where these players, like they had about 250, 300 hardcore people that were playing and trying to win." And he said, we can actually see each week they come with better and better and better alluvials. Oh, they're missing one, they've gone and bought it, or they've gone and captured it in the overworld. They had alluvials that started off in week 1, and you can literally watch this on the recording, like it's all there, where people would come in and they would have a level 25 alluvial. Now they've given it to a friend and said, hey, just juice this guy up. And in the finals, they've come back and it's like a level 55, which takes a long, long time. And I was like, wow, so this is why we've spiked in, because not randomly, but like 8 weeks ago when we had that, the first Leviathan tournament spiked overworld users massively.
Yeah.
Right. Like just out of nowhere. Then when we ran this, when we ran the official Leviathan series, more and more and more people started going to overworld. Now we have noticed it got a downtrend, a massive downtrend since we launched, and all of a sudden it's going up. And these people have realized that there isn't enough. There's no stock of level sort of 40 to 60 decent statted alluvials for these people to buy. So like, and I'm actually not even joking about that. There's just not enough.
I've looked for it myself. There's nothing.
Crazy, right? That creates a massive opportunity for people who are like, well, I've got all the time in the world. Give me 10 hours. I'll jump into the overworld all day long and start farming up these alluvials, leveling them up at the same time, putting them on the marketplace. There is a huge opportunity there. So in a very small subset, the very thing that we said would get sales going, get marketplace transactions going, generating us fees and tying it back into revenue, it's started. It's actually starting to happen. And I think a lot of people don't know, because it's kind of weird. The arena and overworld players are very, very different players. Like you talk to an overworld person, they're like, I've never played an arena game in my life, right? And so those people aren't talking to the overworld people, and the overworld people aren't really speaking to the arena people. And so it feels like they don't know that there's this problem of there's not enough alluvials there. And I even think to the point where if you played overworld back 12, 18 months ago, and you have a large stockpile of alluvials, probably check if they're not sought after at the moment, because there's no stock. It's super hard to find anyone who's willing to, put the time in. And so where this kind of drifts back to is, how do we generate revenue off this? You just let people buy levels, just directly, super easy, in-app. You finish a game, you're playing Leviathan, you had $1,000 on the line to win the tournament. Your Ramfire was level 20. If it was 50, you win the tournament. Are you paying $200 to level up that alluvial? Yes. Right? So now maybe 200 is crazy. That's probably Kieran prices. But, are you paying $10 for it? Absolutely. So it's kind of interesting that all of the things inside of our ecosystem, revenue generating wise, are starting to happen beyond obviously Prince money. It's really, really good, super low cost, prints a lot of money. Right? If we really wanted to, we could probably survive off that if we reduced our team even further and we added a few tweaks. So revenue wise, I'm not too worried. It's more having, obviously getting to profitability is big, but for us, we've got an MMO to build. And so, we need to do more than just generate revenue, which we will.
So to come back to the very start of that, you mentioned that Leviathan kicked off this revenue flywheel. Are you going to go deeper into that? Are you going to start up a whole other Leviathan series or automated tournaments of some kind and things like that? Is that in the current plans?
There 100% needs to be another league. like without a doubt, there needs to be a Leviathan League, even if it's small, right? Like even if it's not as larger prize pools and whatever. I'm 100% convinced that it's not even, as I said, like it's a very small sample size. It's not even signaling to investors like, holy shit, this is what's been happening in terms of in-game revenue is huge, like right now. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it's showing where the revenue can come in, showing that, hey, there's a few droplets coming into that bucket and that bucket and that bucket. And when you get to mass adoption or critical mass, whatever you want to call it, if we were back at, say, 100K players, for example, Battle Pass, we had 10% of our players buy the Battle Pass, right? Which at our peak, I think we had 70,000 Arena players in a single month. Right now, as you know, Arena, very hard. Like we can't even build bots. So most of those people are real players. If we got 10% of them paying, $30, it's a huge amount of revenue coming in. So as long as we can show, yes, out of the small player base that we have right now, 2,000 people, 10% of them are buying the Battle Pass. We can do that in multiple places beyond the MMO, marketplace fees. It starts to paint a picture of where we're going to be in the next 12 to 18 months, right? And that's what we're doing right now. And make no mistake, gaming right now is seen as like, ooh, don't want to touch it. It'll get its bid. And when it gets its bid, it doesn't just come with the token price go up. It comes with the players. And there's going to be way less games to play compared to 2 years ago. And you just need to make sure that you've got the right setup and you'll be totally sweet.
I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of the players come in and things like that. I know that marketing has kind of kicked into gear, but we're seeing a lot of the same players in the IPL, but we'll get to that in just a second. First, let's jump into Illuvium Zero for just a question, okay? So Illuvium land prices have obviously dropped quite considerably. We don't have to comment on that too much, but what would you say to landowners and maybe even prospective buyers looking at land right now?
So it's the same situation, right? We get it. We know that going and making Zero an amazing game and pouring $10 million into it to build it up into one of the a good mobile game isn't on the cards. We don't have the runway to do that. We've chosen the path, which is the MMO and Arena. And the good thing is the fallout from that is the landholders will generate revenue from that, right? So we have to get the other games good and we have to have them generating substantial revenue. And that's how the landholders are going to be paid back. That hasn't changed. I'm not going to pretend like there's some crazy thing that's coming around the corner or anything like that. It's just purely we need to generate more revenue.
Easy as. All right, so there's only really a few things holding back Arena now. The game has come a long way. For anyone who doesn't know, they've launched 3 or 4 major updates in the past 4 months. And so with that context, the first thing I've got is how close is localization? All right, for the Illuvium Arena, given Asia and Latin America in particular are a major audience for the auto battler genre as a whole.
So localization, we started about a month ago. We're not just going to do Portuguese or Cantonese or whatever. We're doing all of them at the same time. And I don't have the exact timeline on it. I believe we're trying to have it done before December, though. So, which would be a huge, huge help. Like the amount of Brazilians that we have coming in, it's a very tough game to learn. There's so much going on. Can you imagine if you had to learn our game in, say, Chinese? You would leave, right? Like that's pretty crazy. So, yes, we know it's important and it's coming.
Sweet. And mobile. Is it coming in 2025? When can we expect it?
It's not coming in 2025, unfortunately. We've decided, like, this was our thought process on that. We can get it to mobile quickly, but if the game isn't but like this is the way that we're looking at it right now. Like how can we how can we make the game better than TFT? Because what we've found right now, yes, player numbers are coming back up, which is a really, really good thing to see. Like especially we've dropped off marketing again, and we're trying to go like really guerrilla and into guilds and stuff like that, and we're seeing numbers go back up. So sorry, I've just got some weird thing that's popped up. Let me just get that down. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
So player numbers are starting to come back, and we've just got in terms of Arena, we've just got to keep on pushing as much as possible for new players to come in, but also educate them, right? Like the people that are coming in through a guild that are getting, coached by someone else, or that there's just a network around them where they can get some help. They're the ones that are sticking. And so when it comes to mobile, if we don't have these like tutorials and localization and even like additional features that make the game better than TFT, going to mobile, sure, I think it definitely 2, 3, 4, 5x's our numbers, which is, it's super hard for me to sit here and not have that, right? And not have that for 3 years. Obviously, we've been talking about Arena on mobile will massively increase our user base. All of like it may be a situation where hundreds of thousands of people that would have played Illuvium just can't access it, because it's not just mobile. It's the fact that desktops really, you need to have a decent desktop. Think about what that would do, eating me alive. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, is there just this button that we push and all of a sudden so many people come? But I think it's a little bit, it would be a little bit silly for me to think that it is a silver bullet. I do think the game has to be better than TFT or unique, in a way where right now, I think a lot of people that are coming across are like, wow, this is as good as TFT and it's cool. And there's limitations with like sets not changing and stuff like that. But actual playing the game for the first 2, 3, 4 weeks, you're like, this is a really good game. But you're not sitting there saying it's better than TFT. I think we need to build the game into a better auto battler, just them versus us, and then porting to mobile is when you get a huge take up. Whether that happens before mobile, I'm not sure, but that's the aim, and that's why we haven't just gone full out on a mobile port.
Honestly, I think Illuvium and TFT have diverged enough that I don't really compare them in the same way anymore. I see them as very for different people and very different games and things like that. So I definitely think the game needs to be as good as it can be first, but I don't know if comparing it to TFT is how I would personally approach it. But the thing on that is, are there any other major upgrades coming to Arena later this year? There's a few areas that are really lackluster, such as onboarding, like you just said. So I'd like to hear anything on that. But the other one is the depth of characters to choose from. I went through I don't know if you saw, I went through the stats the other day, like what teams are winning and stuff like that. And really every team just tries to get to a stage 3, tier 5 as soon as they can, right? There's only 5 of them. They're really powerful and you just kind of need it to be able to win. Is there any major updates coming?
Well, I mean, I've always said that that's not the case, right? Like I proved that by building a composition last set or last balance patch, which was easily a top 5 build, right? The monkeys, they're all stage 1, right? They're stage 1. They're the easiest. You have to sit on a level 5, spam gold. You want the stage 1 drop bear and stuff like that. So like I do challenge that, but you're 100% right in terms of depth. right? And so we've started talking about set 1B, which would has a few changes. Things like tier zeros actually become tier ones. Tier two, the lynxes become their own their own tiers. There's a bunch of changes there that I'm not going to go into too much depth. But then there's also taking some of the overworld characters, the new ones that we built, the new enemies, and chucking them in as well. So it's not going to be like a full new set, but it's going to be a change up in the meta. And honestly, we really, really need it. Like, there's people who have been playing this effectively the same set for 3 years, which it's going to grind on anyone. And that's part of the reason why, we have churn and stuff like that. It's because, you just an auto battler like this, you have to have fresh content. We've identified it. We know, like, we've always wanted to have multiple sets. We're working on it. Is basically the short answer.
Well, after you do this set update, then what is the plan moving forward? Are you going to try and revamp it or adjust or add new characters, whatever, every 6 months, every 12 months? What's the ongoing plan for refreshing the content?
So we've already started building new alluvials. The plan is to have a new set, and that will incorporate old alluvials that will have different classes, different affinities, different omegas, different everything, right? So it's the same, similar looking character, but just a different form of it. That's a way for us to get to a second set faster, and it'd be less resource intense. Then there's going to be brand new alluvials that come in, and the plan is to have that when the MMO comes out.
Love to see it. How many alluvials are we talking?
I'm not going to say, but it'll be good, right? Like, there's the thing that you don't have to worry about when it comes to Illuvium is stuff like that, right? Like, we aren't going to half-ass it. We aren't going to do it in a shitty way where you kind of like, oh, they just cheaped out and they would want to sell more stuff. No, but if we're doing a new set, it will be same quality. Yes, we're making a few shortcuts with, reusing some alluvials and changing some stuff around. But for the most part, it's going to be an awesome set. But the thing there is, if that happens, then right now, the set ones, people are thinking like, oh, when I get back into the MMO, when it's better and they have quests and combat and all of these cool features, I can then go and get my Ram fight. Well, he might not be there. That's what I'll leave you with.
All right, let's move on to the MMO-Lite. So before we go and check out these juicy leaks and go through the video step by step, I do want to ask you a question up front.
Yeah.
Are there any new features in the MMO-Lite outside of the boss battle that you're particularly excited about?
I think it's the culmination of all of them. Like, we were having a chat about this before, and I said to you were like, wow, this is awesome, it's got all of these new things, there's so much to unpack here. And my comment to you was, it's kind of still us, right? Like, there's a lot to do with that, right? But I don't want to disparage the people that are working on the MMO, but there's a ton of stuff, like the animations, visual effects for combat, they aren't in yet. It's frustrating because they're done, or a lot of it is done, but they just haven't gone in and actually hooked them up inside a build. And so when I look at it, I'm like, you're looking at a 2-month-old game here. You know what I mean? So the footage that we're showing, a lot of it is what we're trying to do is say, like, Illuvium's got good quality, right? We were lacking with content, but not lacking with quality. You go into that world and you look around, you're like, this is amazing. It has so much potential. You don't go like, your character's like banging its head against the wall because you're glitching and all this stuff. Like, that isn't going to exist. It's the features all in one where you start going like, okay, they've kept me in here. It's the fact that your ranger levels up now, right? It's the fact that your alluvials start leveling up with you, and there's skill trees that you've got to start building out. So you choose like, what type of ranger do you want to be? What affinities do you want to have? What weapons do you want to use? You start going like, okay, what am I doing? I've just opened up out of this pod. We've crash landed. What's my goal here? You immediately in Sanctum Mesa go into your first mission and your second and your third, and it's almost like a tutorial in itself. And that makes you start wondering, like, okay, what is this? Like, what are these alluvials? Who is this captain that, you know, who's gone rogue? Like, what are these obelisks? Why is there a dome keeping everything in? And you start being like, okay, this is kind of crazy. Like, I like this. Then you go in and face the boss. You see multiple people. Like, on any random day, I'll go into the MMO, and this PvP, we're going to disable it because it's kind of janky as fuck, but it's just been enabled because whatever, like the devs just are testing things. And you can go in to the overworld thinking, oh, well, it's you're still so set in that old overworld where it's just you and no one else. And you'll just be sort of walking along and someone will start shooting at you or smacking you with their sword and you're like dead all of a sudden. And it's like, oh yeah, wait, I'm not here in an empty world. There's, you know, we've done play tests where there's 20, 30 people that are running around and you're like, okay, this is pretty crazy. New enemies. So not just seeing the alluvials, seeing like actual enemies and knowing like, okay, these are guys that are out here to get me. They want to attack me. The alluvials, I'm sort of taming, and now they're becoming my own. Having your alluvials actually fight with you. There's so many things where you just look back and you're like, what was it before if you didn't have this? And it's like a shell, literally a shell. Now it's no longer a shell. So I can't sit here and be like, yep, you know, you can... it's just this one feature. It's just combat. It's all of them at once.
All right, let's have a look at it. Everyone ready? All right. So you start off. The first thing I'm noticing here is all of the grass and the flowers and everything. I didn't think it would make that big of a difference, but it's actually really catching my eye, and I love it. All right, let's go into it. Attacking the what's this one called? An Ias Liss?
Don't worry about the names. They're gonna change.
So we can see you attacking all the list, the enemy creature or whatever it's called, beating it up. Very cool. Here we can see some different day-night cycles, right? Well, what are and the multiplayer? We've got six players in there right now. Is it running smoothly? Is it running well?
It's running fine. Yeah. I mean, look, you get it up to like 50 plus people and it starts getting a little bit tough, but we haven't optimized the back end almost whatsoever. We've just been focused on building other things. But yeah, back end wise, we'll be totally sweet.
In this one, we can also see that the enemy list or whatever is trying to shoot it with little energy bolts or whatever while it's attacking this primary opponent, which I actually really like because you need to feel like you're in danger. And when there's one opponent in front of you, you don't really get that vibe as much. You can see it shooting the ranger quite frequently, actually. You've got to really be on top of your toes. Is this you in the footage doing this, by the way?
No, it's not. I look like a mentally disabled person inside the overworld. Unfortunately, it's gotten worse for me.
We can also see a brand new base camp. What are you going to be doing here?
So there's an NPC where I believe you'll get your 4th quest. There's still so much work to be done. Like you look at this, it's kind of like, oh, you put some boxes there, and like it looks out of place. There's a bunch of a lot of that stuff is placeholder, but you're in here. Yeah, you're talking to this officer. She's going to give you a quest for you to go and do. It's quite far away, so you got to get through a bunch of different mobs to get to the other NPC. Then you come back. So you learn a little bit about the world, and then come back, give her some intel, and she sends you on a few other quests, and away you go. So it's just a base camp. There'll be some more stuff. Like this is inside Brightland. So when it comes to things like your crafting and all that stuff, it's still in Sanctum Mesa, but there will be, I don't know if there's going to be merchants, but there is going to be NPCs that are giving you quests and stuff like that inside the different regions.
Is this going to be the only camp, you think, at Brightland Steps?
I've just got to give a shout out to Gang Gang. I think he's been here for the last 5. If you've seen me laughing or smiling in this AMA, it's because I'm reading these comments. The something about Mary one got me, because I've obviously got a gloop of... I don't really do my hair very often, but thank you for pointing that out, Gang Gang. Really appreciate it. Sorry, what was your question?
I was saying, is this the only camp that's going to be in Brightland Steps?
No, there's multiple.
Okay, very, very cool. All right, let's jump into the next
one. Because we've toned down the movement. So it's kind of weird. Like, as someone who's been in the overworld for so many hours, it's so annoying. It's very frustrating, but you also forget over time. Like now I'm sort of like, okay, well, this is the new norm, but so you can't fly across the map anymore. You can't jump like 8,000 meters into the air. There's a bunch of harnessing that we've done on the movement mechanics. And the reason is we want you to feel like it's as big as it is, right? So like getting from this base camp, I think she sends you to another base camp. It takes like a long time. You got to fight through enemies and get there. Like it's like a proper MMO. It's really good.
That actually sounds really fun. I'm looking forward to going onto a path and doing quests and things like that. I've always underestimated that sort of stuff because I'm a big Elden Ring fan and stuff like that. It's a little bit less like that. But I do look forward to that. So this next bit, you're really going to have to explain for me because I have no idea what's going on.
Okay.
You can see the capture chance flipping between 2 different odds before clicking onto it to capture it at the higher odds chance. Is it just like a rotating slot, or are they doing something else with different keys on the keyboard or something like that? Or
it's a mini game where you're basically waiting to you've got to select the best one, the right one, and that will give you the capture chance. So it's just a little way to add a little bit more, but it's very much placeholder. I was speaking to Roger about this the other day. It might be what's in for the vertical slice, but we're almost definitely going to change that for the full release.
I don't know how hard it would be to dev, but I would love to see something like Monster Hunter Red. Like in the new Monster Hunter game, basically, if you hit like a certain spot on a monster, it opens up like a wound, and then you hit that and you do extra damage and that sort of stuff. I don't know what it would look like for this, but I like the idea of like little crosshairs popping up in different places. And if you shoot them with a gun or something, it increases your odds to capture or something like that. And so you have the two, like in Pokemon, you have the 2 verticals, right? One vertical is you just try and knock it out as quickly as you can. The other is you try and get it low on health without it killing you or dying, right? And so with this, you'd be able to try and strategically attack it without trying to kill it in like a much more difficult way in an effort to capture it. I think that could be really cool. But
yeah, that definitely.
Or something along those lines in general, right? But yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, let's keep going. I like this. This is a new Vine. I swear to God, this isn't a Vine from before. I could be crazy.
It looks like a Vine from before to me, but it obviously is new, otherwise they wouldn't have put it in.
This scene in particular gets me really excited.
It's still obviously very janky. Like I look at that and I'm like, yeah, that looks cool. Again, the idea of us showing this footage is that we have a certain quality. Like I've got Roger and Perry who are like, oh my God, do not show that. Like, look at the Axodon. It's like ridiculous. The reason is I think people know, like, okay, our problem would be not will they make this combat look good. I think people know that. It's going to feel good. It's going to look good. It's going to be snappy. That's fine. It's more, does it exist? In our case, if I was looking at Illuvium, I'd be like, yeah, I mean, it looks great and it feels great, but there's literally nothing to do. Instead of attacking the creatures, you go into some random auto battler. That's the thing that pisses me off. When I see this, I'm like, holy shit, okay. So now it's like a fully immersive game that I'm going in, fighting them, melee combat. I'm putting out my alluvial. He's attacking them with me. Now I've got my mate who's coming in behind me. He's blasting from area. Like, it's to tease out in someone's mind, if this is all put together, then this is going to be fucking awesome. That's what we're trying to do. And that's why I don't have a problem with sharing stuff like this early.
I love seeing stuff like this. So here's what I'm seeing right now. I'm seeing you find an alluvial. It's in a kind of an odd spot, but that's fine. You're finding an alluvial and you're doing some fun damage to it, right? And it's going to attack you, but you manage to dodge it. It puts up the vapor barrier. This is an ability completely different to anything we've seen so far. Charges up some sort of energy orb, fires it in front of him. Love to see more of these kinds of abilities, and it's clear with the red on his back that this is linked to the progression system in some way. That's really exciting as well. But this next bit, where Axelon absolutely just tears him to pieces in like 2 seconds.
Yeah,
because the previous overworld had no sense of danger in it. This gets rid of that, and that's what gets me hyped for the MMO.
Yeah, because he's literally gone in as a level 1 or whatever and tried to take on an Axodon. That's probably like a level 20 Axodon. And he's, well, you ever play an MMO and you waltz into an area where you're not meant to be and you get one-shotted? That's what's happened there. It's, like if you go, especially at night, if you go and try and walk to complete one of the quests and like you're way too low level, you're freaking out and you think maybe I can make it. You never do. You get smoked. So a lot of that stuff as well, where it was just a bright, lovely world with rainbows and lollipops and candy canes and shit. I'm never going to get hurt. That is no longer.
I can't wait to try it, man. I wish we could play it sooner than it seems like we're going to. I have no idea when the vertical slice is, but we might as well ask that right now. When are we going to get to play this? When is the vertical slice?
Here's the deal. I don't have a date yet, and we've been trying to get it done this year. We want to get a playable version in this year. Now, I've started talking about potentially having like a playable version for a very small, maybe 100, 200, 300 people. Then we do another version, which is the vertical slice. So you get about, call it 60, 70% of the way there. People know that there's still some jank. We've got to fix up a bunch of stuff. But for the most part, all the features are in. We just got to optimize them and make them better. And then we launch the vertical slice. That's going to really drum up hype, right? If I can go to a bunch of guys like you and say, hey, I want you to do a video on this. We don't care what you say, right? We're not going to pay you to say something positive. If you hate it, you can hate on it, whatever. But go to all of the different content creators and say, if you want to be on this exclusive list, we'll put you on. You'll see it before anyone else, and you can go and put out content about that. If we go with that strategy and do it sooner rather than later, the market's heating up. The market wants a good game, right? If people start seeing something with a mass appeal like we have with this MMO, and all of the content creators are like, holy shit, yeah, that's still a little bit janky here and there, but when this thing comes together, this is going to be the thing that everyone's been waiting for. That is my plan when it comes to the vertical slice and how we deal with that. And then obviously after that, it's about going as full speed ahead so we can get it to market as soon as possible.
So To continue on that, I'd love to talk about like the existing community and how they fit into the MMO-Lite. Okay, so you've talked about you won't be able to use your existing NFTs until your ranger hits a certain level and stuff like that, and that's all fine. But what will existing community members be able to spend money on when it comes to the MMO-Lite? Obviously, they already own a lot of the alluvials. They don't necessarily need to, I don't even think they need to spend money to capture them again, because there's going to be some changes to the way the free-to-play works. What do you say on that?
So one of the biggest issues that we had, effectively what it needs to boil down to is the game needs to be free to play for anyone who wants to go and just enjoy the game, right? From end to end, they need to be able to enjoy it, with the exception of like some items, some weapons, some armor, a couple of different other stuff that you can, wearables, cosmetics, and then NFTs, right? Like if you want to go down the path of NFTs, you're probably in it for the money. You want to be able to sell that. It's going to cost you to own it, right? And so that's fundamentally what it boils down to. Where we fucked up last time was having a situation where everyone was penalized. We were like, if it's free to play, sure, we get millions of people. The NFTs start here and they just go to bottom because they're just going to be botted to all hell. Instead of doing that, we're saying, sure, you can go and play the game end to end, see if you like it, and you can not have a single NFT. We can be on Steam, we can be on Epic, no issues, right? But as soon as you want to have NFTs and as soon as you want to sell them, there needs to be a way that we monetize that. And that's the only difference, right? Like where previously people were like, oh my God, you're charging me for everything. And it's like, if we don't, it's not going to be worth anything. And the bots are going to come in and just ruin the game. And now we're saying like, can't beat the bots. So it's free to play, but you won't be able to go and sell those things on the marketplace. That's when monetization actually starts. And there's a bunch of different mechanisms that we're going to introduce. I don't want to get into it yet because, to be honest, things are still changing and we are still having active conversations. The most important thing is the economy for this MMO when we launch. So yes, but if the way that we're thinking about it is, if you're a whale and you want to go and whale out and you don't want to grind for hundreds and hundreds and thousands of hours, there's a path for you to spend a fuck ton of money, which is going to fuel all of the free-to-play people to be able to go and play their games. And that's the dynamic, right? And yes, there's going to be some people like, well, he didn't have to do as much. And there are still those things that you mentioned where you can't go and put the best sword on a level 1 character. You just equip it, right? There's limitations built in, but sorry, I just read a comment again. So there's limitations that we've built in, but you need for people to be able to just come in and spend thousands of dollars. That's how we're going to get the token price up, the economy thriving. That's, you can't avoid it.
You get me hyped, man. You get me hyped. I do think that's important. I'd love to see a subscription model fit into that. I think it could work quite well for Illuvium at a certain extent. Obviously not locking out too much stuff or anything like that. But on that, players often say that Illuvium has world-class visuals, but struggles with its soul and accessibility. Tara wrote this one. What's the North Star you're aiming for in terms of player experience?
Progression. Like if there was so much progression missing, not just in like the fact that your ranger wasn't leveling and there wasn't equipment that you would put, like there was, but it wasn't in the same way that like randomized stats that come through. And like you want to feel like your effort is translating into not money, right? Like I'm playing a crypto game, I just want to make money. Traditional style of I'm playing a game and the output of that is I want to feel good that I got the sword that I wanted to, or the helmet that I've been looking to get, I wanted to get that. Or I wanted to reach level 30 so I can unlock this type of content, which might be PvP or whatever. Meaning is baked into everything that you do in the MMO. You want to see your Illuvium go from a stage 1 to a 2 to a 3. You want to see it go from level 10 to 20 to 30 to 40. You want to see your ranger start being able to unlock different synergy paths because you put your points into grinding that way. And you want to have personal expression, right? So much of an MMO is about the social aspect, where your followers, you want them to know, fuck, that's Scoriox going past. Whether that's because you're riding a Scoriox snake, not saying that's possible, but maybe a little bit. But you know what I mean? Like, you want to know, like, that's the guy that's going past me. And none of that existed in the initial overworld. That's why Taran is saying there's no soul. There wasn't, right? And all of that is going to change. You already feel it going in there now playing the demo.
How much grind do you think it's going to take to actually get there? Are you talking like spend 40, 50 hours to kind of reach the end of your progression skill tree? Or how do you see that playing out?
So it's probably Perry's going to kill me for this, but I played an MMO recently, Throne and Liberty, and I think I put in about 50 hours, right, over like a 4 or 5 month period, and that 50 hours got me to like decent. You weren't at the end game content, but it was decent. I think somewhere around like that 50-hour mark, you need to be pretty decent. As in, like, you need to feel like, okay, I'm getting a bit of power here now. I've kitted out my character with all of the different pieces of armor. I've got a great weapon, all of that kind of stuff. At 50 hours, you should feel like, yeah, I know what's going on. I know why I'm here. So you should be there. But that's about the point where you should start unlocking things like PvP, which I think is, we won't have it in the initial launch, hence, MMO-Lite, but I'm already getting the guys to start thinking about, like, what is PvP going to be? Because as soon as I got to that end game content, I started thinking like, okay, well, what is the point of being here now? Like, should I leave? And obviously I've got a shit ton to do, right? Playing another MMO is not the best, time spent for me. But at the same time, I did get that feeling of like, what next? Even though there was still stuff to do. So I don't want us to get into that situation. But so I guess what I'm saying is, around about that 50, 60 hours, you should be hooked in. But then you should be looking like, okay, the next 950 hours, that's when things start. I can really start expressing myself. People know me because I smash people in the arena. Like, I have the craziest looking gear and whatever. Like, that's when you should start really, getting to that grindy point. But you're already in love with the game.
Yeah, and then you add wagering in, like we said before, into the PvP and the overworld. All right, so a lot of people, when I was asking people for like questions they have about the MMO-Lite and things like that, there was one that tends to be recurring, right? And that is raids, but also guilds and things like that. So multiplayer looks really fun. It looks exciting. The PvP aspects look exciting as well. Besides the boss battle, what else can players expect to do together with their friends in the guilds and things like that?
So, yeah, the plan eventually is to have things like raids, have like world bosses come in where it's literally everyone is fighting to take out this Leviathan that's breached the domes and gotten in, and it's like up to everyone to get this thing down. There's plans to do all of that, and that's that sort of like 50 to 1,000 hour range, right? Like, that's how you keep people in. Roger was like, hey, we could try and get this into the vertical site. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, actually, do you really think? And I don't think we will. I think that's kind of crazy. But yes, absolutely. It's planned to have as much of that type of content as possible. But again, also, I want to make sure that we do it in a unique way, similar to how PvP needs to be. It can't just be, oh, we copied Guild Wars 2 or World of Warcraft or whatever. We can't do that. Like, it doesn't work. This is this whole idea, and I was a big advocate of this. Oh, we just need to build a game that's as good as Web 2, and then they'll come. No, you need to build a better game, right? Like, that is the reality.
You need to build something new.
New, unique, or better, or a combination of all three of those things, right? And that is, I think, the biggest realization of all of these Web3 games is these studios is, fuck me, it's not even good. Like, it doesn't matter. People don't care if you've built a game as good. You look at Parallel. They're like, yeah, it's pretty good, but I'm not leaving Hearthstone. Just not doing it. You know, you need something that is unique, new, and obviously, you know, with us, Arena, Gauntlet, Leviathan is the unique thing. The fact that you own your alluvials and you can go in there and play them. But that's another thing that we all thought, like, when you can own them, that's going to change players' mindset. It's not just that. It needs to be something that is unique in the gameplay and unique in the infrastructure. I can go and sell something on the marketplace that I just, you know, bought or I just caught or whatever. You need both of those things. And that's been a big realization for us that, hey, like, we're effectively in the same boat as Web 2 studios. We need to build, like, it's not just build anything is good and all of a sudden you're rich. No, it's not that.
Okay, well, since I've got you as a captive audience, here's my pitch for PvP. Okay, 10 seconds. Ready? 3v3, go into some sort of arena, but it's objective based. Okay, you're not talking full smite. You're talking like there's some sort of goal zone you've got to hit or something. I think that gets pretty interesting because you can have these objectives be based on an affinity, and maybe it's a fire objective, and so you've got to send your teammate with the Axodon to go and take it out and things like that. So if you can weave in the different alluvial synergies and squad synergies across 3 players in a 3v3 or something, I think that could be really unique and interesting.
Yeah, I was thinking like proximity affinities. Right? So effectively, you've got, I think when I wrote that GDD of what the initial MMO would be, I think it was like a high level thing. I put something similar in there. But effectively, you go into this PvP arena and not just your rangers synergies. You know, if you go in there as a mud berserker or whatever, and someone else is a mud berserker, then all of a sudden it's going to add to yours. What alluvials they bring in also matter. Now, where it gets cool, but like I've been told probably too chaotic, but I don't know. Maybe I'll win. But proximity based makes it all about coordination, right? So you've got the healer over here, and maybe you've gone in and you've boosted up and put give me the. I'd never use healers. What's the they're
Adorius?
Paths. Yeah, but what's the double composite of like the best?
Mystic.
Sorry, Mystic. I should know that because I use the Apon. But so Mystic, right? If you go in as a Mystic Ranger and you've added that as one of your additionals, but you're also, you know, you're also a fighter, right? So you go in there as melee, but you're like, we need that heal buff. And then you've got a derp fucking guy who's like, we have no one else. We need you, and you've got the bloody best Mystic monkeys out there. We need you to come into this battle with us and take on this team. And he's like, oh, I'm going to run over here. And you're like, dude, all you need to do is stay within the same proximity. I then get the buff. I can then take down their rogue, and then we win. But no, you can't do that. And then, you know, you're mic'd up and you're talking to them. So I don't know. I think that could be really cool. Super hard to build, I'm being told, but that could be something cool. Similar line to what you're thinking.
Well, I totally agree. I think synergies with your squad and things like that are incredibly important. And I think proximity based is really good too. But I found in a lot of games, you need a reason for someone to go over there or whatever like that, right? Like even in League of Legends, you have the Nexus at either end. You need that Nexus element at either end. Another Web3 game that's actually doing it really well is Wildcard has like the Nexus at either end. You need that sort of stuff and the different buffs that just pop up on the map and you're trying to chase it. And so you've got that tug of war, that tension against the opponents. And then the teamwork really molds into it because you're like, okay, there's two objectives. Got to communicate with my team. Which one do we go for? Which one is more valuable to us at this time? And I think that could be really fun.
Yeah.
All right. So I had a question from JT the Barbarian before, and I think this is a really interesting point. Are there plans to get the MMO-Lite onto consoles? I know you have the partnership with Samsung. What's happening with all that?
Not right now. It would be a huge pivot for us, or not even a pivot. It would be a huge amount of work for us to bolt on to what we already have. No, we don't need success. If we're successful on PC, we can very quickly port to console. But yeah, I think that would be a bad move to do that right now.
Sure. Okay, so let's get on to the last topic of the day, which is the runway and the ILV token. Obviously, without predicting on any token movements. At ILV's current token price, raising will obviously be incredibly costly. What are your plans for topping up the runway? Sometime this year or next year? Or
yeah, so we will do that. Again, I'm trying to time things like I normally do. If you've looked at our previous capital raises, we always sort of, the price pushes up and then we're able to do a raise, and we try and wait for decent market conditions where things are favorable for us. If that doesn't happen, we have to just, take our medicine. But I think where the market's going, with how much hype we're going to build, we haven't showed barely any of the MMO whatsoever. And so people are just assuming, oh, well, Overworld's dead. They've got Arena now. And, obviously player numbers there coming up are really helping things. Staking, which is launching this month, Staking V3, which is going to be on a layer 2. So that's really interesting. But there's also some big rewards that are going to be there. That, I think, is going to be the thing that takes things off. We had so much liquidity, and just come with me on this journey for a second, right? So think about, you're a whale, right? You're an ILV whale from back in 2021, right? If you put money into the ETH ILV pool, someone like Luggies, it's disgusting how much money that guy made. Absolutely fucking disgusting in terms of how much ILV he was able to get from rewards. Now, I don't know his P&L, right? Like, I absolutely don't. I haven't looked into it. I'm sure he's got multiple wallets. But I know from me personally, I put $1 million in the ETH ILV pool as well. And it was just insane how much you would generate. So if you're that person and you're like, okay, I've left Illuvium now, they don't care about the game, right? Effectively, they cared that other people cared about the game. They were locking you in for the money, right? That's all I care about in terms of these people. Ancillary benefit to that is smaller people are going to get rewards as well, which is great. But my target is not small little $100 deposit, $200 deposit. It's about getting the people who put $1 million in, $10 million in, $20 million in. We need to get them back. So if you see that Illuvium is now launching Staking V3 and they're rewarding in these shards, right? The speculation, me purely just, how much I was up in terms of that pool, I'm just YOLOing back in. I don't give a fuck. I'm doing it and I'm sitting there and I'm drawing up my own P&L and I'm looking and I'm like, okay, you're, X amount up over that 3-year staking period. Even if this wasn't anything, even if it just imploded and everything died and I lost all my money, I'm still so far up on that previous investment. And that's why so many of the tokens out there that do so well, right, is when they just launch another product and people are like, well, they did that so well the first time. I made so much money the first time. I'm YOLOing back in again. They're the people that I want to get back into the Illuvium ecosystem. And if we do that, right, if people start seeing liquidity come back in and they're making rewards again, they're earning money again, and then they're also seeing, oh, fuck, look at that new video. Look at that new trailer that came out. The MMO, people are starting to get hyped. All the content creators are playing the MMO. Arena's building back up. They're talking about things like porting it to mobile. The narrative starts emerging, right? And you start seeing, okay, well, they're literally going to do all of these things. Then you get a capital raise on top of that, call it January, February next year. If all of those things align, then we execute the capital raise at a price where it doesn't hurt us, right? Where it's totally fine. We get another 3, 4, 5 years runway because we only have a small burn now compared to what we had. You're looking back and you're thinking, like, of course that was always going to happen, right? That's the situation that I want. And it requires a shit ton of work, but you can tell we are absolutely dedicated to this, right? Like making Illuvium come back. Like I'm not sitting, people are like, well, why would you do it? And, people ask me, they're like, it's so stressful. Like, surely you would just say like, oh, well, we tried, we launched 3 games and whatever. Number one, I'm not that type of person. And no one on our team that's remained is like that. They want to win. They're competitive as fuck and they want to win. But the other thing is, I didn't sell any. I'm in the same fucking room that I was in from 5 years ago doing interviews. I didn't sell. So if you're sitting there and you're like, he is just a greedy bastard and he wants his riches, he wants to be fucking small on his pile of fucking gold, go speak to my wife. She's like, you're a dumb fuck. Why didn't you sell?
She's my girlfriend.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're thinking that I'm greedy, I'm money hungry, I want to make huge amounts of cash, keep thinking that because I haven't made it yet. And I need to lock in to ensure that I do that because it's even worse. It's actually even worse that I had it there and I was like, no, we're going to make this even bigger. We're going to be the biggest studio on earth. We're going to do all of these things. I drank my own Kool-Aid. I'm not sitting here selling a dream that I don't believe in. I fucking believed it. Look at my wallets. That's proof that we are out here and we're not going to stop until we get this done. And so, like, it's kind of funny. It's like for so long I've been trying to say, like, look at all the things that I've done. I've been generous here. I've given away tens of thousands of ILV. I've given my staff a whole heap of, bonuses out of my own personal one. Like all of these things I've been trying to say, like, we're transparent. We're not going to rug you and all this stuff. And it's kind of come full circle where it's like, well, if I do want to do that, we don't have the money anymore. We need to pump this token back to where it should be. That's the only way I have the ability to do that. So again, if you think I'm that type of person, which I'm not, but if you do, it's a good thing right now. So that's kind of where I'm at.
I want to know so much more about this new staking thing. Like, first off, where are you getting rewards from to reward people? And secondly, is it going to be on you said layer 2. Is it going to be on ZK EVM or IMX Legacy?
I said it's going to be on a layer 2. You make of that.
Oh, okay. All right, that just got interesting.
We are migrating to ZK EVM though.
Yeah. Shit. All right. Cool. Well, if someone didn't catch on to that, you catch on to that now. Jesus. All right. So the last thing I've got for you today is, okay. So if Illuvium had to cut everything down to one product tomorrow to survive, okay, which one would you choose? The Arena, Zero, or MMO-Lite?
The MMO, hands down. It has the ability to actually get mainstream adoption. It's in a genre which isn't niche whatsoever. MMOs are massive, right? It has the ability, it's got the social aspects, which so much of crypto is about. It's where we started from. It's, you know, there is nothing that is more important than us building this MMO. And as much as I love Arena, if we had to, you know, if we had to discard that, then yeah, we would. And we would just have the MMO. And you know what? I think we would be totally fine. Like once people start, it's everything that when you would play the overworld, you'd be like, God damn it, what I've been rused. This has so much potential. It's just missing blah, blah, blah. All of that blah, blah, blah is coming. So we know that new players coming in are going to be like, wow, this is an amazing game. And the people who played before are like, you have no idea what we went through, right? So we've got feedback there. It's not like we're building a brand new game. We're building all of the features into it that people said this would make it an unbelievably fun game. You know, so it's not like we're also gambling on something that we have no data from or no test cases or no players from. It's, you know, No Man's Sky type shit. We've just got to execute on it.
Yeah, you just got to execute, update, iterate, and it'll get there for sure. Okay, we better wrap this one up. Is there anything else you want to say before we end the stream?
No, I think that's it. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I just spoke about, and I think there's a few people that like sort of know how I work my craft, and they're like, hey, I'm seeing a lot of shit here where like you're going to do this, aren't you? Like first you're going to launch the staking, then you're going to start hyping people up about the MMO, then you're going to start giving them demos where they can play. You know where you went wrong. You still have runway. Like, what am I missing here? And I'm like, you're fucking not missing anything. It's staring you in the face. Like, do you want to invest in another gaming studio that isn't going to tell you how much runway they have, isn't going to tell you how many team members they have, just full of absolute shit? Or will you go with the battle-hardened veterans, you know, the ones that the axes out there, right? And as much as I shat on them to start off with, look, like I would back them 100 times faster than any other game in this space outside of our own, because they're dogs. They're going to sit there and do absolutely everything that is needed to get it done. And we have a similar mentality, you know? So if you can see the picture we're painting, you've got an opportunity here. You really, really do. There's a reason I'm not selling my ILV. I think we're going to, you know, push it. I want to push. I can't really speak about price, but you get the picture.
Yeah, I get it. All right. Thank you so much for joining me, man. It's always a pleasure. We'll have to do this like every month or something to keep the hype going, keep everyone excited. There's so much to be hyped about. I can't wait to try out the vertical slice myself. I know everyone in the community will. Thanks so much for joining us too in the chat. And yeah, have a good one, guys.